Obviously, something new has happened in the gallery, so...
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
Well, hello, lovelies, and thanks for coming to my first podcast, Sharing Tea with G. So go grab a drink of choice and sit back, relax, and listen to some really talented and very passionate simmers. Our first topic coming to the table is our Sims 4 gallery. We've all come together today to talk about all the various changes that the gallery's gone through since May, and we're all sharing our thoughts, opinions, and feelings with the utmost respect to the game that we love and to the community that is the gallery. Two major things happened, actually more than two, because you saw the first kind of stuff. All these names were like just random series of numbers and letters and stuff like that, but obviously we were all still who we were. But that started on Tuesday. At the same time on Tuesday, this new glitch issue problem with the Maxis Curated filter happened. Maxis faves are now messed up. There are creations that were not Maxis faves that are on the Maxis Curated tab, and then when you flip from the Maxis newest curated to popular now curated, the popular now curated has merged with the regular popular now, so all of the over defaulted posed sims as well as some re-uploaded builds are mixed into the Maxis Curated filter now.
How weird.
Yeah. Also, people are now seeing all of their old creations that they deleted, whether that be, from a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I haven't fully investigated this one.
Well, mine were from months ago when I first decided not to use
that's
defaults.
Right. That's what you said.
Yeah, I deleted them off about October.
Mm-hmm.
About October, November time.
Well, I did a creation just last week. I messed up on the hashtag, so I deleted that, fixed the hashtag, put it back on, and now I have two of them.
Oh, I did notice that yesterday.
I said I just pulled mine up, and I do have duplicates of a bunch of stuff again.
Yeah, this is new to me, so we're just gonna hang out, talk. It's like a podcast of sorts. We're going to focus on the 6 questions that I posted in our chatting. And how it's going to roll is I'm going to ask the first question, and then I'm going to just go down the line of who I see in walkie-talkie right now. So, Abs, you're going to be up first. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, just one thing to say.
Yes.
Everybody, 5-word answers, yeah? 5-word answers.
So we are here today doing my very first podcast. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming on in. And
Hi, G.
Thanks. Hi, Ina.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Brian.
Hello.
Happy to be here.
Shelly and Annie. Thanks. So let's share some tea with G, because I think that's kind of cute and it rhymes. I don't want to spill the tea because that makes a big old mess, and we're not messy people. We are respectful in our answers. We try to balance our thoughts and feelings with some maybe a teensy bit of a mess, because the gallery is a bit messy at this point. Abs, you're up first. Please share your thoughts and feelings about our gallery after the May update.
Okay, so I've only known the gallery as a social media style platform by the way it was designed when I come to the gallery in 2019. Because of the gallery's design, it gave a drive and put people on a treadmill, a game grind mechanic to grind for followers, downloads, etc. or Maxis faves. That said, it was a fun way to play the game. You would play the gallery, so the update removed the gaming aspect people like to see.
Okay, that was fantastic. Thanks, Abs, for sharing. All right, Brian, you are now up.
Okay, so basically I'm on how they've left the gallery since the May update. obviously just making the gallery more broken than what it was before. And of course today, yet again, something else reappears. All the deleted content has basically reappeared, so making the gallery even more broken than it was before. That's pretty much it for that.
All right, Shelly, it is your turn.
I have felt very disappointed since the May update. Everything is broken in my opinion. The gallery used to be a mostly friendly, supportive, and positive place, and now it just seems to be full of hate and mean comments, competition, and I feel that that is a bunch of lies. Due to this update, I feel it has isolated people. It's harder to keep track, to be able to favorite, comment, download, and support those who are your friends. Unless you look them up individually, because sometimes the people you are following aren't in your following section anymore due to the update. It makes it feel like the gallery is pointless when it comes to being supportive when it's that difficult to do so.
Okay, my thoughts on the gallery just now after the May update are completely different to most people's. I myself have been totally left in the dark, shall we say. I can no longer follow people, I can only follow 9, and it doesn't matter what I do, that will not change. After each update, those 9 people that I've chosen are taken away from me, and I have to then go and find them and refollow those 9. Now, I did start up a new account to test this theory, and on my new account, I can follow up to the 300. So for me, I would just like to be able to follow people so I can see my friends, see what they're posting, and not have to go searching every single day.
That is a great point. I know that there are quite a few people in your position. I've been in the gallery for a very long time. So I remember when there were new beginnings, the news feed, which were coming up in number 2. That's what built community and what drove our community, right? There is no sense of community in our gallery right now. I feel like I go there and every day I try, I feel like there's just this big giant echo of what used to be, and me knowing what it used to be and now having these feelings. It's very much a contradictory, and while I've always been an optimistic person, I'm very much frustrated, annoyed, saddened about the current state of our gallery after the May update. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for all of your answers.
I will kind of put in on there, I think there are some things that were improved by some of the updates they did, but there's been far more things that have like snowballed that are not an improvement on there that have kind of messed that up.
Can you speak to one of those improvements? Because you're right, there have been a couple. So I do want to encourage the positive at this point.
Like, I will say I do like the fact that everything loads a lot faster on there when they updated everything, because the gallery was horribly slow and everything before the update on there. So I like they improved that somehow on there. And then I also did like the fact that I wasn't being updated on who was following me anymore, or how many followers somebody else had or anything like that, because I didn't really necessarily feel like that was a positive.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what Annie said about not being able to see who follows who and what people's downloads are, because that, to me, also at the beginning, when I joined the gallery, was one of the things that you noticed. And if you're a new person, you're going to go to these people that have like 20, 30,000 followers and think, oh, they must have, they must be really popular, when sometimes they're not as popular as they seem. So not to be able to see that is a good thing.
I think they should just have followers and keep it private. You don't have to show everybody how many followers you have. You can have it privately, and then you can see who is following you. So it will be, more so that way.
Yeah, I would agree to that. You don't need to know how many downloads you got or how many followers. You can look on your own gallery and find out.
I agree.
I'd rather keep it private.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I would agree.
let's move on to question number 2. Please talk about your feelings about the loss of the news feed since May.
Right, I actually feel that the news feed needs to come back. It was a good way of notifications, so you didn't miss anything from anybody you were following. If you had somebody that you really liked, you get a notification come up. They've created something new, you could download it, put it in your game. The news feed was more of a notification system, so it helped keep track of who's creating stuff and when and where, whatever. So the only thing I will say about the newsfeed is I didn't actually like it when I saw somebody that I was following what they were liking on other people's posts. I thought it should have been kept private on that part. So what you really want to see is just the information relevant to me.
Yep. Again, the newsfeed for me is an absolute must. I like to see what my followers are sharing. Obviously, I don't particularly want to go to looking at one by one, so having the newsfeed is a big must. I personally like to see what creations my followers are also liking, because if I see something that I also like that they've liked, it's worthy of a fave from me also. Other than that, since losing the newsfeed, I think across the board, I think everyone's downloads have halved or even less than that. So since they took the newsfeed away, everybody's downloads have definitely decreased since then. So bringing it back is an absolute must for me.
I agree with Brian, and I feel that the newsfeed was a big loss. I really wish we would have had an explanation as to why it was taken away in the first place. It made it so much easier to stay connected to those who you followed, and even new simmers if you wanted to support them and their creations when they were posted. It's just hard now to go through basically individually with people that you are constantly in contact with to check them every day, multiple times a day, to see if they've done anything.
Agreed. Thank you, Shelley. And Mindy, would you like to add to any of number 2's conversation?
I agree with everything that was stated above.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Ina, you're up.
I don't think I can add any more to what's already been said, apart from the fact that having the newsfeed there was how I built up the people I followed. Whenever I saw a new creation that somebody I followed had liked, I would go, oh, I like that. I think that's how I started following most of you guys that are here.
Thank you, Ina. Guy, how about you?
Okay. You've all hit the nail on the head on everything, from not being able to see who you're following and what they're posting, and not able to see what they're favouring, so you can't follow that other person if there's something there that you like. On top of that is Max's faves. The news feed always used to give Max's faves information of what tunes, what houses, what everything was being faved that week, etc. That isn't being shown now, so how do I know what's being Max's faved if I'm not following them? You know, newsfeed was always a good thing. It should be brought back, and it is most definitely needed.
I'm pretty sure we can wholeheartedly agree on that point, all of us in this chat. Annie, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much all the points that have been brought up on there. I mean, it was really, the newsfeed going away has been really, to me, I think, probably, and I speak mostly for myself, but I'm pretty sure a lot of other people are feeling this way too, the reason why most of us feel a lot more isolated now. Especially, I jumped into the gallery probably with you guys about, I had been playing it for a little bit, but it was around a little bit after COVID had hit and we were finally out of the pandemic and nobody really knew what to do and stuff. And then I found you guys here, and the newsfeed was just really a great way for me to easily connect with everybody on there and pinpoint who I wanted to share my creativity with and everything. And a lot of that feeling of community and all is just really lost now, because I'm sitting here going, not just with the newsfeed, but the fact with the followers. on there, it's just cut everybody off and everything. Because like a lot of people that I was following, I can't even follow anymore because they got cleared from it, and they get cleared again anytime I try to refollow them. So there's some people, maybe I'll forget their names and I can't even follow them back, and it's hard to look for them because there's thousands and thousands of us on the gallery.
Thanks so much, Annie, and everyone. I'm gonna just kind of ditto what everyone has said. For me personally, I think the newsfeed really did help the Maxis faves, like Guy said. Everybody saw those. Everybody, even if people were like new to the gallery and they're like, who's this Maxis person? What is this? But it was constantly there in your newsfeed, and so everybody clicked to see what it was all about. That gave so much visibility and support to the Maxis fave, the Maxis curated process, and I've been involved with nominations for years. And to see what's happened from after the May update just to that one section of our community is pretty disheartening. I think the newsfeed really did drive community, and without that, we have no drive for community. Okay, now, you guys, we're going to circle back around for your final thoughts on question number 2, the loss of the newsfeed.
I just think the newsfeed was a nice way to connect with people.
It is one of the things that are most positively missed.
I agree.
You know?
Yep.
And like
Yeah, I
Annie
agree.
said, it definitely makes you feel more isolated without having it.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Okay, thanks you guys. So that kind of merges into number 3. How do you feel about the current visibility of Maxis curated content? So let's focus there for just another minute.
Well, I feel the Maxis faves. What Maxis faves? I don't see any. It's hard to find. It's hard to see. But what I do feel would be a good idea is to add an achievement icon, like the little modded icon, but it's a Maxis fave one, so then you can see what's got a Maxis fave and what hasn't.
Love that idea. Thanks, Abs. Brian, your turn.
Yep, I think it's an absolute shame what EA have done to the gallery, especially with the Maxis faves. They're not getting nowhere near as much coverage as what they used to. Not even half the amount of downloads they should achieve. Having maybe a little picture up in one of the corners saying this is a Maxis fave. So whether people actually see it on the Maxis fave list or just through flicking through people's galleries, and it stand out more. But hopefully one day they will fix it.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, welcome Nivenor to our conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind talking for a bit, and I agree with what's been said. I think Maxis faves need a lot more visibility, and like the newsfeed notification made it so that everyone would see them, and I think that they deserve to be seen more than they are.
I agree with what everybody said so far. It's been kind of disheartening that, like, once a week or so, if you want to see who's made it, you have to go and search it out. And Abs's idea of putting a little logo on it would be helpful, but that newsfeed really needs to be brought back to help those numbers. Not necessarily the numbers, but just the recognition for getting a Maxis fave so everybody knows it's there.
Nightlioness.
I agree with everybody saying as well, and I think it's an honor to get a Maxis fave, and it should be showcased as such.
Definitely. Thank you. Ina?
I think that all the points that have been said so far are amazing points. I also wanted to bring up the fact that when the update happened, a lot of Maxis faves disappeared. Now, people work hard to get a Maxis fave, and it is an honour to receive one, so why did they take some of those away? I didn't understand that.
Guy, what about you?
Okay, hold on to your seats. I'm ready for this one. Maxis fave, ever since the update, has been, on a word, broken. It used to be very visible, obviously, like everyone has said, with the newsfeed. But now that newsfeed isn't there, there isn't a symbol like Abs mentioned about having a little logo to identify which is a Max's fave. On top of that, now without the newsfeed, and you go to the Max's fave, Max's curated section, you've also got CC content. You've got content that isn't even qualified to be Max's curated, so it's definitely not Max's curated. So how can you know which one is without some form of notification, i.e. the newsfeed or some identifying badge to tell you it's a Max's fave? There's no knowing what is a Max's fave anymore.
So as far as the Max's curated content goes, I'll be honest, I've got a little bit different opinion on that, just in general on there. I honestly never really understood why it was a category to begin with on there where people were promoted to it, because to me it seemed like more of a popularity contest almost with the Max's faves, because you would see people constantly making either horrible comments toward the creations that got these faves on there when it was going on and more popular on there. Even though there were high downloads and everything, people being either jealous or wanting to outdo them, and then people doing more of the cheating and everything to kind of outdo them as well on that. So that they're not as visible on there, I don't necessarily think is as much of a shame, but at the same time, if they're going to still have it as a category, I do think it's a shame that they're not getting highlighted, because to a lot of your points, people do work hard for those Max's faves and put a lot of thought into their creations and everything on there. And I would agree with Abs. I think they should have something. I always was never sure why they didn't have something similar to like the Spark Challenge to somehow signify that it got the Max's fave on there. Like the Spark Challenge ones always had the blue frame over them on that, and I think that would have improved it a lot. It's just a shame if they're still going to be using it that it's not being highlighted anymore, much like everybody else said.
Way back when I stumbled across Max's faves and what that you can actually nominate Max's faves, I decided that was the one place that I could actually try to make a positive impact to the gallery. And I wanted to change that whole attitude of, well, it's just a popularity contest, or it's just this, or it's just that. And in my opinion, it is an honor to receive a Max's fave, as well as even to nominate it and nominate someone that I feel like is a creative, a content creator that has good build sims and stories, that has not only good creativity, but also a good gallery representation. You know, I want to make sure that people are highlighted in the best sense of the word. Are there problems with the Max's fave process and nomination and curation? Sure, there was before May. Now there's even more. So I always think of the positive and make sure that if I'm doing my best to nominate effectively, then I have to trust that the Max's fave process, the people that are picking to curate, also understand that it's their job to pick the best out of all the nominations.
You'll need to edit that story.
Because it was way over a minute.
I totally agree.
Before you go on to the next one, quick, I just wanted to touch base on something that Annie said regarding the Max's faves. It's not so much the Max's faves themselves, but it's more on the bad comments that the Max's faves get over time. Which I think is a very important, because as you know, most servers and most galleries you go on, whether it's The Sims or another EA platform, you need moderators for these bad comments to keep appearing one after the other. But you need moderators, so EA need to get some of their own people to permanently moderate the gallery. One, it'll stop these bad comments, and two, it will stop the drama.
I agree with Brian. I was going to mention something about that later on. You just constantly have these mean and hurtful comments that we need moderators to get rid of the spamming of the comments, and that they need to take it more seriously when things are reported.
I will just add to this, and I will say, with games comes toxic people, horrible comments. That's the beauty of games, because it's behind a screen, no face on a screen. you will get them people wherever you go.
I feel like they just need people to moderate the gallery. I don't think that it can be done, like that you can have a positive online platform without real people watching over it.
I would say again, I think that's more the problem. It's not necessarily that they don't have moderators, but it feels like more it's an algorithm of they just flag certain words and everything, or something that they have in there to do maybe the moderation for them is the vibe that I kind of get from it most of the time on there. So I agree with what Brian said. I would think it's probably important for them to actually have a real person who that's their job, is to go through and look at everything that's being reported and judge it with logical eyes on there to take those seriously or not seriously.
Text that the computer doesn't take into account, it will just pick a word regardless of what context it's written in, and will say, yeah, we're not using that, that's going to be, disallowed from now on, like my username, that's no longer allowed. Just and it's never been used in a bad context ever. But there's always going to be an issue with trying to keep foul language and stuff off of the internet. Even, game wise, whatever. It's always going to be a problem.
Thanks for bringing up that extra point, because I've had these conversations with other people in the past about the gallery and how the gallery does need more moderation, not just a simple let's click a flag and report something and then nothing ever gets done, right? Or maybe it does. I just honestly don't truly know 100%. But I think that every other platform, a social platform, pretty much every other platform, even Sims 4 forums platform, has active moderation, and there's multiple moderators. So for us to not have an actual visible moderator or moderators in our gallery community representing keeping things safe and positive and comfortable and inclusive, that to me is a big problem. I might be changing my answer to number 6, to be honest, because I've always really pushed that idea, thought that was important. And, hey, I volunteer. Who's volunteering with me?
Me.
I'm willing.
Me.
I'm willing. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's
Hey,
do
if they
this.
want to pay me to do that, I will gladly take the extra.
Yeah, we would need a little compensation, obviously, because that is a big, giant job. My favorite word, right? But I am happy to do so. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Anyone else have anything else to say before we move to number 4? Let's close out part 1 with a couple of friend statements that couldn't make it to the actual podcast. The first one by SimmieSweetness. Here are her answers to the first 3 questions. She wasn't in the gallery in May. She's been gone about 6 years and was shocked to find out that they had gotten rid of the newsfeed and the follower counts. It doesn't make any sense. I would love to know the reasoning for this. The loss of the newsfeed was also most upsetting because this is her favorite thing about the gallery. And while she wasn't in the podcast, she's clearly in agreement with all of us regarding the Max's faves. Next up, we have KSsDesign. I'd like to say that both Sweetness and Cass have been longtime friends and gallery veterans. I mean, I would call them like OGs of the gallery. They've been in the gallery longer than me. I really appreciate her viewpoint on the newsfeed. While we've all echoed it here in the podcast today, I think it's a vital point to make. That the newsfeed helped us discover new players, it helped us support our own content, and it helped give the gallery community a much greater awareness of what was actually Maxis curated. We even find creations there which have no relation to what Maxis has favored. Part 2 will pick up where we left off on question number 4. Tea with G will be back in a splash.